Hey everybody, Mark Scarbrough at Cooking with Bruce and Mark. I am still on a tear about the Tex-Mex cuisine of my childhood. This time it's in an Instant Pot, enchilada stew. So what is enchilada stew? Enchilada stew is a beef stew made to taste like the filling of enchiladas. Duh. In other words, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this really deeply complex flavored beef stew in an Instant Pot, but I'm leaving the tortillas out. You can serve tortillas on the side. But if you are on a low carb diet of any sort, or just want to cut the carbs out tonight, this is a great way to have enchiladas without having the carbs of the tortillas in the enchiladas. Okay, how do I want you to do this? I want you to start with 2 pounds or 1 kilo of cubed beef steak. What is cubed beef steak? It's probably round steak. That's what generally the beef cut is. And they run it through a machine that has all these needles that poke holes on it. In the old days with my grandmother, she used to take the round steak and bash it with the meat mallet with the pokey sides. And she would bash both sides and then fry it. Sometimes cubed steak is used in chicken fried steak in Texas. It's a kind of common cut. And the best thing about it is it's super inexpensive. So 2 pounds or 1 kilo of beef cube steak and cut it into, I don't know, 3/4 inch strips, 1 inch strips, 2 centimeter. Listen, you people in Canada and Europe need to come back to the Stone Ages where we are. Anyway, 2 centimeter or I don't know, 3/4 inch cuts, something like that. Just get it in strips. Do you have to do it against the grain? No. This thing has been perforated 1,000 times. You don't need to do anything, you just cut it in these strips. Okay, now the seasoning. I'm gonna get this meat seasoned. Here's what I want you to do. In a bowl, start with a tablespoon of dark brown sugar. Oh, mine's clumped. Did you see that? Clump. Oh, it clumped everywhere. Look, that's no fair. I have clumpy brown sugar, so okay, well, we'll deal with it. What? Who styled this shoot? Who did? Oh, me. Anyway, okay, so a tablespoon of dark brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. I want you to add a teaspoon of mild smoked paprika, and here's where you can fuss it up a bit. If you want this enchilada stew to be hotter, use a hot smoked paprika. But I'm using a teaspoon of mild smoked paprika, half a teaspoon each of onion powder and garlic powder, and half a teaspoon each of salt and pepper. Mix this up in the bowl until it's a spice blend. Then add all the beef, and I'm going to show you something. Now I want to tell you right now that I washed my hands before I did this, so this is the point. I washed my hands because the best tool for this is your hands. Any chef knows the best tool is your hand. So get it in here and mix it up so that all the spices evenly coat this meat. And I am ready to wash my hands and come back and start the stew in the pot. Okay, now we're ready to make the enchilada stew in the Instant Pot. I am working with a 6-quart max. I'll tell you about that in a minute, but a 6-quart max Instant Pot. Any 6-quart will do. I'll tell you in a bit what to do if you have an 8-quart or even how to make this in a 3-quart. But here's what you want to get inside the pot before you add the meat. It is the following. Get in 275 grams or a cup of canned crushed tomatoes. So crushed tomatoes, not diced tomatoes, not whole tomatoes, but canned crushed tomatoes. And do not use tomato puree or tomato sauce. They're too thick and they will bring on the burn notice. Do not use that. And I also have a half a cup or 120 milliliters of dark beer. Did you know they're making beer in other colors besides dark? I didn't know. So get that in the pot, stir it up. If you don't want to use dark beer, use unsweetened apple juice, but dark beer will give it this beautifully complex flavor. I used a brown ale. You could use Dos Equis, you could use Negro Modelo, you could use any kind of dark beer that allows a kind of deep and complex flavor in the stew. 2 tablespoons or 30 milliliters of lime juice, and a tablespoon of standard chili powder. Why didn't the chili powder go on the meat? Oh, that's a fascinating question. Because actually, chili powder is kind of thick And it's a blend, you may know this, of ground dried chilies and oregano and cumin and other things. It's got all this blend stuff in it. Those ground dried chilies that are the problem, it causes a thickening of the stew. And when it falls out of suspension, it can actually bring on the burn notice if there's a lot of it. So the point is to get it in here and get it just a bit dissolved to avoid burn at all costs. So I got that in there, and now I'm gonna add the meat and all the spices, every bit. If there's any left in the bowl, there's not. If there's any left in the bowl, I want it in here, and I wanna stir this, but not a lot. Remember, the spices are on the meat. So just stir it just a little bit until it's all, see how it's kind of all just down in there? Okay, it's good to go. So I'm gonna get the lid on the Max pot, and then I'm gonna tell you what to do. Okay, here's what the deal is. You're gonna set it for pressure cook, that's what you want. And in terms of how you're gonna cook this, it's on low pressure. Some of you may have seen the liquids going on there and you said, no, that's not enough liquid for an Instant Pot. That's because we're using low pressure. We don't want a super wet stew. We want a stew. We don't want a soup. You want to set it for 10 minutes. That's exactly what you want. That's going to be a quick release, but this is not anywhere near done. So come back after my quick release and I'll show you what goes on. If you want to make this stew in an 8-quart Instant Pot, do everything as I said, low pressure, 10 minutes, but add half a cup of broth in an 8-quart pot, or increase everything by 50% and skip the broth entirely. If you want to make this recipe in a 3-quart pot, have everything except the beer. Keep the beer right where it is, but have all the other ingredients for a 3-quart pot. 10 minutes, low pressure, quick release. Are we done? No way. This is just part of the stew. I'm gonna take it off. Oh, it smells. Oh, why don't they have smell-o-vision on YouTube? It smells fabulous. You notice it is a little brothy. It's not soupish, but there is a broth to it. So no, it's not done. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to add 6 ounces or 170 grams of shredded cheese. Okay, what kind of cheese? You can use a Tex-Mex blend. You can buy that at most supermarkets in North America. If you buy a Tex-Mex blend, make sure it doesn't include any other spices. It's just the cheese itself. I'm using half and half shredded Monterey Jack and sharp American style cheddar, what I grew up calling yellow cheese. So you put that on top of this and spread it out evenly across it. I don't want to miss a drop of cheese. Spread it out evenly across the top. Oh my God. And then put the lid back on the pot. Just kind of set it askew. Now, 5 minutes, wait. Wait 5 minutes for that cheese to melt, the flavors to blend just a little bit. We'll come back and I'm gonna taste it. Before I taste this stew, subscribe to this channel. Give us some likes, give us some comments, tell me what you think. I wanna know what you think about this stew. Subscribe, like, hey, I'll like you back. Okay, we are ready. Look at this. This is gooey, cheesy, fabulous. Oh, enchilada stew. Come on, look at this. It's cheesy, oh, I can smell it. It smells fabulous. I can smell all that cheese in it. Now listen, if you want to serve this with tortillas, you can. Where I live in New England, you probably know, because I've complained about it enough, I can't get good tortillas. But if you really want to take this over the top, let me say that and make it totally US-based food, then take this, I can't even get it up, and crunch Fritos all over the top of each serving. Now that would make it amazing. But okay, I'm going carb-free, so here we are. Come on. It tastes rich. It tastes like the filling from enchiladas. Look, I'm eating it without beef. Oh, look how stringy it is. You probably want to eat it with a napkin. It's cuminy, it's spicy, it has great depth of flavor to it. The meat is super tender. It's Come on, this is like comfort food for everybody. It's enchilada stew. It's a recipe from our book, Instant Pot Bible, The Next Generation. Check out that book. That book will have hundreds of recipes that let you take your pot, no matter its size, up to the next level. You can find more recipes in our YouTube channel, Cooking with Bruce and Mark. Subscribe, like, come back. There'll be lots more ahead.